From the glittering courts of ancient China to the empire where the sun never set, we count down the 10 largest empires in human history. The Tang Dynasty, China's undisputed golden age, a period of unprecedented prosperity, cultural brilliance, and cosmopolitan openness that made its capital, Chang'an, the most magnificent and advanced city on earth. Emperor Xuanzang, the zenith of Tang power. His long reign oversaw the dynasty's cultural peak, but his later infatuation with consort Yang Guifei would lead to a rebellion that shattered the empire's golden peace. Chang'an, a metropolis of 2 million, was the eastern terminus of the Silk Road. Its perfectly planned grids and international wards hosted diplomats, merchants, and monks from across Asia, embodying the Tang's confident cosmopolitanism. Tang society celebrated poetry, music, and the arts. This was the age of legendary poets like Li Bai and Du Fu, while innovations like woodblock printing began to spread knowledge, fueling an unparalleled cultural explosion. During its 8th century zenith, it governed approximately 5.4 million square kilometers from the glorious capital of Chang'an. The Tang's legacy is a timeless benchmark of Chinese civilization. Its poetry, art, and technological innovations, coupled with a devastating rebellion that ended its era of unequaled splendor. The Ottoman Empire. For over 6 centuries, a titan straddling east and west, it rose from a frontier state to rule 3 continents, controlling the world's most strategic crossroads and defining the history of the Mediterranean and the Middle East. Suleiman the Magnificent, the empire's zenith, a formidable lawgiver, conqueror, and patron of the arts. His reign marked the peak of Ottoman political power, cultural achievement, and military reach into the heart of Europe. The conversion of the Hagia Sophia symbolized the conquest of the Old World by the New. Under the great architect Sinan, Istanbul's skyline was reinvented with soaring domes and minarets, a physical manifestation of Ottoman imperial and religious confidence. Istanbul's Grand Bazaar was the engine of a global economy. As a hub of trade between Asia and Europe, it reflected the empire's ethnic mosaic and its role as the commercial and cultural bridge between continents. It reached its apogee in 1683 on the eve of the Siege of Vienna, controlling 5.2 million square kilometers. Ruled from Istanbul as the final great empire of the medieval world, whose collapse after World War I redrew a modern map of the Middle East. The Achaemenid Empire, the first true world empire, a monumental achievement in administration and tolerance, it united 100 peoples from the Indus to the Nile under a single rule for the first time in history. Cyrus the Great, the empire's founder, a revolutionary leader whose famed cylinder proclaimed respect for conquered people's customs and religions, a model of governance remembered as the first charter of human rights. Persepolis, the ceremonial capital, its architecture was designed to awe, with monumental stairways depicting all subject peoples bringing tribute, a stone testament to the empire's vast diversity and centralized power. The Royal Road, spanning over 2,500 kilometers, connected the empire. A sophisticated relay system of messengers and guarded posts enabled trade, communication, and control,
the internet of the ancient world. It reached its zenith around 480 BCE, governing 5.5 million square kilometers through a revolutionary system of semi-autonomous satrapies. Its legacy is the concept of universal, respectful rule, an idea that outlasted the empire itself when it fell to the armies of Alexander the Great.
The Roman Empire, the definitive classical civilization whose laws, language, and roads laid the foundation for Western Europe. For centuries, it enforced the Pax Romana, the Roman peace across 3 continents. Augustus, the first emperor. He ended the Republic's civil wars and established an imperial system of government that would bring stability and unprecedented grandeur to Rome for centuries. The Forum was the pulsing heart of the empire, a center of politics, commerce, and religion. Its grandeur, replicated in cities from London to Damascus, was a tool of imperial control and Romanization. Roman life revolved around engineering and social ritual. Aqueducts brought water to public baths and fountains, while the baths themselves were social equalizers, reflecting the empire's complex hierarchy and pursuit of civilized leisure. It reached its greatest territorial extent in 117 AD under Emperor Trajan, covering 5 million square kilometers. Governed from Rome by a single emperor and protected by the legions, its most enduring legacy is a framework of law, engineering, and Latin-based languages that still shapes the modern world. The French Colonial Empire, the second largest colonial empire, a sprawling constellation of territories acquired over centuries, driven by republican ideals, strategic rivalry, and a civilizing mission. Napoleon Bonaparte, the archetype of the modern emperor. His military genius and legal reforms reshaped Europe, laying an ideological foundation for a new kind of imperial ambition. In Paris, monuments like the Arc of Triumph celebrated imperial glory. The empire was showcased through grand expositions and military parades, projecting power and a unified national identity. In the colonies, from the cafes of Algiers to the rubber plantations of Cochin China, French rule imposed a new administrative order, extracting resources and creating a layered society of colonizers and colonized. It reached its greatest extent after World War I, spanning over 11 million square kilometers. Governed from Paris under the ideology of the civilizing mission, its complex legacy includes the global spread of the French language and legal codes, and the traumatic wars of independence that ended it. The Abbasid Caliphate, the epicenter of Islam's golden age. For over 5 centuries, it presided over a flourishing of science, philosophy, and culture that lit up the medieval world from its brilliant capital, Baghdad. Harun al-Rashid, the Caliph of legend. His court in Baghdad, immortalized in the 1001 Nights, became synonymous with immense wealth, patronage of the arts, and immense political power. The House of Wisdom was the empire's beating heart, a grand library and academy where Greek, Persian, Indian, and Arabic knowledge was translated, preserved, and advanced, fueling discoveries in mathematics, medicine, and astronomy. Baghdad was a metropolis of trade and ideas. Its markets buzzed with goods from across the known world, reflecting a society that valued commerce, craftsmanship, and the exchange of knowledge.
During its 9th century golden age, it governed over 11 million square kilometers from Baghdad. Its greatest legacy was not territorial, but intellectual, preserving ancient texts and pioneering new sciences, a beacon of enlightenment whose light was tragically dimmed by the Mongol invasion.
The Spanish Empire, the first truly global empire upon which the sun also never set. An empire forged by conquistadors and galleons, built on New World silver and a zeal for conversion. Charles V, ruler of the first empire where the sun never set, a Habsburg monarch whose dominions spanned Europe and the New World, making him the most powerful man of his age. In the Americas, Spanish rule built magnificent Baroque cities atop ancient empires. These cathedrals and palaces were monuments to a new colonial order, extracting silver and souls. The empire's lifeblood was silver from Potosi and Zacatecas, shipped to Seville to finance European wars. It was an extractive system, reliant on indigenous and African labor, that fueled global inflation. At its territorial peak around 1790, it spanned 13.7 million square kilometers. Built on the pillars of God, gold, and glory, its legacy is the indelible imprint of the Spanish language and Catholicism across Latin America, a direct result of its 3-century rule. The Russian Empire, a colossal continental giant that grew for centuries, becoming the 3rd largest empire in history, bridging Europe and Asia under the rule of the Tsars. Peter the Great, the reforming Tsar. He dragged Russia into the modern age, building a new capital, a powerful navy, and an empire that would dominate Eurasia. St. Petersburg, the window to the west, symbolized the empire's modern aspirations. Its grandiose architecture was a statement of power and European identity. Behind the imperial facade was a society of stark contrasts, from the opulent nobility in European-style courts to the vast peasantry tied to the land, a tension that would eventually erupt. It reached its greatest size in 1866, spanning 22.8 million square kilometers. Ruled by autocratic czars from St. Petersburg, its quest for warm water ports and influence led to the Great Game with Britain and ultimately to internal revolution. The Mongol Empire, the largest contiguous land empire ever known. Forged by the will of one man and his descendants, it reshaped the map of Eurasia in less than a century. Genghis Khan, the supreme leader, a strategist and unifier of the Mongol tribes, his name became synonymous with both conquest and the establishment of a new world order. From the capital Karakoram, a cosmopolitan hub, to the vast network of trade routes, the Mongols built an empire where commerce and ideas flowed with unprecedented freedom. Life was defined by the horse and the bow. The Mongol warrior, skilled from childhood, was the engine of an empire that valued merit, mobility, and mastery of the environment. At its peak, around 1270, it covered 24 million square kilometers. Founded by Genghis Khan and ruled from Karakoram, its legacy was the Pax Mongolica, a century of relative stability that connected East and West, safeguarding the Silk Road and altering global history forever. The British Empire, the largest empire in history. At its peak, it ruled over a quarter of the Earth's landmass and nearly a quarter of its population. It was truly the empire on which the sun never set. Personifying this era was Queen Victoria. Her 64-year reign, known as the Victorian Age, marked the height of British industrial power, colonial expansion, and imperial culture. The heart of the empire beat in London. The Houses of Parliament and Big Ben stood not just as architectural marvels, but as symbols of governance and law imposed across its colonies. This power was fueled by the trade and resources of its colonies. Bustling ports like Calcutta in India were scenes of cultural collision and the vast transfer of wealth to the imperial core. The British Empire reached its greatest territorial extent in 1920, spanning 35.5 million square kilometers. Ruled from London and symbolized by Queen Victoria, its legacy lives on in the Commonwealth of Nations and the English language as a global lingua franca. To witness the greatest events, empires, and minds of history, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. The journey through greatness has just begun. All sources are listed in the video description. Stay curious.